And we're live. So, this is going to be, did we say episode 1 or episode 0 of CuzWords?
Episode 0.
Episode 0?
Episode 0.1. We could do the episodes like the season, and then the decimal, and then the episode would be the after the decimal.
Okay, well, we'll figure that out. I can't visualize.
It's just math.
I think it's easier for folks if it's just serialized.
That's true. Like Cocoa Puffs.
So let's introduce ourselves. I'm John. You may hear Michael call me Madison.
His name's Madison.
That's been that's what my family's always called me. And this is my co-host Michael, and we are cousins. That's the name CuzWords.
CuzWords.
We just sit around and chat with each other.
We're gonna try not to cuz too much.
Yeah, we're gonna try not to cuss too much. Yeah, because we do know our family's gonna be listening, and believe me, family, this is gonna be more difficult than you know, but we're doing it for you.
It's relatively easy for me. I've gotten a lot of practice over the years.
Yeah. You're also really good at pretending to be sober, if I remember correctly.
It's true.
So we have been talking about doing a podcast for a while, Michael, and I know the boys. It's been something that we've discussed with our group of friends, and I've always considered myself a little bit of the scribe of the group. I'm the one that wants to take pictures, and I just figure that generations to come are going to want a record of us and our BS conversations.
I mean, generations to come, or maybe just like the police will need information for their investigations, one or the other. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a okay.
You know, they can't be going on, falsified claims, but if we put the evidence right in front of them, then they'll be fine.
It is always good to give back to the public servants.
Yeah, that's true. They work hard. First we should talk about our setup here. We got a really, this is top of the line. This is truly, as good as it gets. And I work in media, and I can tell you that where I go, got nothing on what we've got here. We have a monocaster board which sat in my closet for 2 years. I felt really bad about it too because it was a gift for Christmas. I put it on an Amazon wish list. I didn't think much of it when I put it on there. I thought there's no way I'm going to get this. And then I got it, and I didn't know what to do with it. But I'm glad we're making use of it now. And we've got the mic that comes with it that only it only picks us up through the right side of it, not the way it was manufactured, intended to work.
And we're sharing this microphone.
Yeah, we're sharing it.
Ideally, we get a little bit of a better audio setup in the future.
Once we make our millions of dollars on this, we'll eventually upgrade to a second microphone.
Yeah. So Michael, talk a little bit more about. You said you're in media. Let's do a little bit of an intro on yourself.
Yeah, growing up, I always wanted to be in broadcasting. I think I specialize in sports, but I also like to entertain, and because of that, I've sang, I've done lots and lots of theater, but yeah, I love talking into a microphone about things I'm interested in, and I guess that's what we're doing here. We're going to talk about stuff we're interested in, or maybe sometimes a lack thereof, because sometimes entertainment comes from ignorance.
That is true, and I do want to say, internet sleuths are likely going to be able to find other content that Michael is in if they're really interested, and they for some reason have an interest in listening to Michael talk.
For some strange reason.
Yeah, well, listen, it'd be strange if they wanted to listen to me talk too. You've got the other shows that Michael's a part of. I want to, Michael works at a radio station. He does not control the content that's talked about, and nor is he responsible for the stuff that the hosts might say that might be a little bit off color in especially the year 2025. It's
well, we got to be politically correct these days. No matter what, I know everybody that's listening to this has non-politically correct thoughts. But, you know, that's the world we live in now is, you know, you got to be PC. You have to be.
It's definitely, it's a necessity.
I mean,
and I think there's reasons. I think there's a reasonable standard for, you know, making sure that everybody, you know, we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, don't want to upset folks, because there are definitely, and where we're based out of is a very small town in Alabama, and the thinking here is about 30 years behind, I'd say.
It really depends. It's like a weather radar. You know, there's certain areas it passes over, and it's like it's not too far behind, and then you get a really cloudy area that it's like, whoa! I just saw a person in a white hood.
Yeah, no. Sometimes up and down the road, you'll see some ghosts in the woods. They're yeah. I like to tell visitors oh no, our woods are
that's the welcoming committee. They're just preparing for you.
Yeah. Well, I like to tell folks that it's just haunted around here. That's all. Don't think too much of it.
It's so haunted.
So I guess we got a couple of topics that we wanted to talk about. Michael, you mentioned talking about my idea for a bro mansion.
It's a good idea. It's a heavy undertaking though.
So we got a group of buds, just like every other guy has. It's our we call them the boys. So if you hear us referencing the boys, that's our
not
that's
the
our
TV
group.
show. We don't have superpowers.
Super original name for a group, by the way.
Yeah.
Is the boys.
The men. We could do the men.
No, we don't. We do not act like men.
Not a lot.
No. When are we saying names? Or are we talking about other folks?
Let's use code names.
Code names? Okay, so Teach. I'm gonna say Teach, and
Teach?
you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking
when
about.
Teach comes over and starts tickling you, I don't think that's a very manly thing to do.
When he horse eats corns you.
Yeah.
You know what that is? That's when you like take your very strong grip. Because I mean, let's face it, the majority of us work out, so
Yep.
we're not talking about anyone that's dainty. I mean, the Teach has some massive grips on him. I mean, just true grippers, and he just throws them down on your thighs right above your knees and just starts pretending like he is trying to strangle you to death through your thigh muscles.
Yeah.
And
well,
that's just one of many things that he does as a bit of foreplay,
yeah, and then
essentially.
and then Michael,
Foreplay for fun for the boys.
you turn around and giggle like a little girl.
It does. It's like it's painful, but at the same time, it's ticklish. I don't know how to describe it.
So that's why I think the boys is more apt title than the men. But back to the bro mansion. So the bro mansion was my thought, my idea a long time ago. We're getting to be in our late 20s. None of us were married. Let's see, was anybody in a relationship at that point? I think we were all single.
I mean, on and off relationships, but nothing like serious. That I can think of.
Okay. Yeah. Well yeah. But my idea was we all pool our resources together and just buy a nice big house in an area that had enough bedrooms for all of us. We could all live together, share expenses, have a nice gaming room set up, or we could have like LAN parties and play team games. Back then, the big one that we used to play a lot was Overwatch. And then we had we probably should have established nicknames for everybody before we.
Well, you're just on the fly.
Just
on the fly.
Just
You gotta
on the fly?
You gotta
Okay.
come up with a nickname on the fly.
All right, Frogman.
Frogman. So we got
Frogman.
Teach. We got Frogman.
Teach Frogman. Well, I think Preacher's probably.
Yeah,
Probably
we
it.
could probably get more creative, but I mean, Preacher works.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we got our friend that lives in Montgomery. We haven't that one might be a little bit trickier. Impressionist. That's not a great.
We could just say Bone.
Bone.
Yeah, Bone. That's Bone.
That's Bone.
Yeah, that's
Okay. I don't know. I don't know where you're coming up with that one, but You can tell
He
me
knows.
later.
He knows. He'll hear this and he'll say, yeah, that. I mean, it's a slight deviation from what his true nickname is, but Bone works.
Okay. Well, so Frogman then had to go off and get married and just really kill everybody's plans for the bro mansion, and then of course Michael had to follow suit.
Wait. I got married before Frogman.
I don't think you did.
Yeah, I did.
When did you get married?
December the 10th, 2022. Got married in
Nice.
spring of 23, right?
Frogman got married in spring of 23.
It's fine. There's only one Frogman.
That's true. Is that okay? All right. Well, I don't remember. I just remember weeping at my bro's death.
I remember Frogman in my wedding as one of the groomsmen, where you know how like it's I guess custom to face the bride and groom during the ceremony. You know, like everybody turns to face the center.
Right. Of course.
But one person in particular decided to face forward the entire ceremony, and that was Frogman.
Yes.
Zoned out completely.
I do recall seeing all.
What do you think he was thinking of?
All the pictures. Probably didn't want to be there. His feet hurt, and that he was missing out on some good time with his Nintendo Switch.
Probably. We should have just let him play on the stage.
On the stage
during it, yeah.
Yeah, he would have probably smiled more.
We love you, Frogman.
Yeah. So we're our idea for this podcast is more to just kind of talk about what's going on and just kind of and we're not cussing. So we're gonna.
It's only in the title.
We're just gonna be shooting the stuff.
Yeah.
On here on the.
We're gonna say dag nabbit.
Dag nabbit. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And we're so geez.
We are country, but it's funny because we do live in a very accent heavy area, but neither of us really have accents. You can pick up on it subtly. I'm
sure you can. I've got some. It's undeniable, but compared to what I hear most of the day, I'm like, I've had people actually ask me, "Are you from the Midwest?" And it's just like, no, come on. You can clearly hear a bit of a Southern drawl when I talk, but it's crazy around here. You go in the backwoods, and I don't even understand it. I need subtitles.
Subtitles would be helpful. I'm looking forward to my pair of AI glasses when I can get them. But we don't have a specific topic of conversation. We will probably go off about fitness and video games.
I know you're going to go off on finance. You've gotten really into finance over the last few years.
Do have a tendency to talk.
I can rant about sports all day. You're going to hear some rants. You're going to hear some rambles.
That'll definitely be one thing though, because Michael can talk sports, but I do not. I never got into it.
It's going to be great when like you're talking about finance and I'm just sitting here like mouth agape, like, and then same thing, sports, and it's just those moments are for you, the listener, because you pick up on what we're saying better than the person sitting beside us is saying in those moments. Because he's going to try to educate me a little bit on preparing for future and preparing for having a family and stuff like that. And I'm going to try to educate him on what Auburn did in the 1970s in football. One may be more important than the other. We don't have to debate that.
Yeah. So we're recording, what's today?
Today is July the 5th. We just celebrated the United States' 249th birthday.
Okay.
And of course our president, he started the year-long birthday celebration. Before the birthday celebration for this year even happened, he started next year's birthday celebration for 250.
I did see that. And I know you were talking about sports a minute ago. Well, I know you have done really well with fantasy football in the past.
I have. I mean, I feel like the last few years I've had some setbacks, but I've had my moments in fantasy, including being a ringer for your dad one year, where he was in a pool that included a guy that had won like a total of over $100,000 playing fantasy football, and as the ringer, I beat him.
Yeah, you came in. My dad basically, who's never played fantasy football ever, he just basically handed the account over to you. You played it.
And it was hilarious because mid-season he'd be texting me like, "I'm at work and such is trying to pull a fast one on me. Is this a good trade or not?" And I'd be like, "No, do not do that. Don't agree to that." Like I was guiding him through the whole thing, and I think the guy maybe caught on somewhere through it that your dad may have not been in control of everything, but he lost in the end, so that's all that mattered.
Yeah, and then I think there was even one point mid-season where him and the guy who was good at fantasy football, my dad and him we're having a conversation about a specific player, and then later that day, you traded that player. Or traded
having
for him.
No knowledge of the situation what they talked about.
And you guys will have and listeners will have to pardon my ignorance on how fantasy football works. Again, I am just not a sports guy. I've never played fantasy myself. But I remember that becoming a whole big thing while he was at work, and then that guy just getting really, really salty about it, thinking that my dad made that trade.
Yeah. That's the good and bad. If you have a ringer in something like that, you need to communicate with them based on everything that happens in real life. Because I had no idea, but at the same time, like without the ringer, if you go into a situation not understanding how to compete in whatever game that is, your dad would not have come out on top like he did. So,
yep. Well, a reason I bring up fantasy football is, and you brought up our president, so you have missed your opportunity to jump on the gambling train. I don't know if you saw this new big beautiful bill, but part of that is you can only write off 90% of your gambling losses now. So that means that if you lose $100 and then you make it back up in $100, you actually still owe 10% taxes.
That's bad for
losses.
Gamblers.
No, it's terrible. Yeah, it's terrible for gamblers. But with the culture the way it is nowadays, where you see a gambling ad is every other ad, the government's about to make bank off of it.
I just don't. When I play fantasy football, I don't really gamble. I don't. I've never participated in a for money league. Well, at least not to a week in and week out where you're constantly spending money to try to make more money. I've had the $10 buy-in at the beginning of the season, take the pool at the end if you win it type of deal. But that's the only gambling, I guess you could say, that I participated in fantasy. I just do it for fun. It's just fun.
Yeah, you do it for fun, but you're also good at it. And I've always thought that you could be making a little bit of money on the side doing that. But now I feel like the risk isn't even worth the reward with this new tax thing, because even if you break even, you're still owing taxes. Or
that's why you can't break even. You gotta win.
Yeah,
ups the ante. That's really all Trump was trying to do. He's just trying to up the ante across the board.
Up the ante, yeah. And this, by the way, this is also not going to be a political podcast. Well, we definitely live in an area that leans so far to the right, like you're falling over.
Do you consider yourself like Republican, conservative, liberal, progressive, in the middle?
Well, typically, I believe it's good podcasting
is that good
etiquette to not actually
leave it a mystery,
not ask that question.
I don't know. I may work in radio, but like I don't dabble in the etiquette. Not really in anything in life. I don't dabble in etiquette or pay attention to it. So like, I feel like all questions should be up on the table. Like if you just, but you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to like answer it if you don't want to. But it's like, I'm not afraid to say like I feel like I lean slightly, conservative and Republican in most areas. But like I definitely see the left point of view.
Lost because you said that we just lost half our audience.
No, I'm not. That's the thing is like I don't think in a lot of cases you're like the left side of the thing is wrong. It's just I think the best thing for the country is open civil debate. When you start when you have the political sides constantly at odds and not talking about why they're at odds, that causes more problems than talking about the issues and trying to find common ground. That's why I appreciate like those YouTube channels out there or those podcasts that try to find common ground in politics, because I think that's important to help the country's like overall mental health. Because if everybody just starts isolating in their political bubbles, that's how you get towards potentially having disastrous outcomes.
Well, and there is I do think there is an argument to be had that a lot of folks they really don't want to hear other people's opinions. So if you don't agree with them, then
yeah, you just your opinion doesn't matter.
Yeah, it gets a little frustrating hearing just a lot of far right opinions coming from out of nowhere, and when you're just talking, they're just rehashing what they've heard on Fox News. I'm sure you hear it a lot, and here in where we live, it's but everybody, and I do think that is what's nice about America is, you are allowed to have your own opinion.
Yeah, it's I've heard many political commentators say it over time is like, I don't agree with your opinion, but I will fight to the death your right to say it. Whether they actually would or not, I seriously doubt. Like Bernie Sanders would like challenge you to a duel if you were like, I don't think you should say that anymore, and he'd just be like, all right, let's go out in the street.
Well,
because I've heard him in particular say it many times.
Listen, Bernie Sanders is a very passionate man. I would not put it past him if
to challenge you to a duel.
Well, I mean, if it literally came down to everybody's right to say something versus not, and I mean, if everybody's right was on the line, also he's already a little bit past his prime. I'm sure he'd do the odds in his head. He doesn't have
probably got to go out in a blaze.
Probably doesn't have too much time.
What's his weapon of choice?
A silver tongue. Yep, probably one that he'd I don't know. I mean, dude's a fantastic speaker.
Oh yeah,
he could probably talk somebody down off of a duel or talk him into can't say that. Talk him into unaliving themselves.
Oh yeah, so all these different I guess podcast outlets, different media platforms have these terms of service that I guarantee I'm not up to date with. Like the things we can and cannot say. I know that there's like PDF files. You have to say that. Like, and I'm talking about a document. I'm talking about
sure, yeah,
something that's viewable.
Right. Yeah.
Or
when you go into Microsoft Office and you export as PDF.
Yes.
Right. Of course.
Yeah. Exactly. Or essayed, like essay. You know what that stands for?
It's like a homie, right?
No, it's close. It's probably not a homie anymore after the essay happens.
Yeah, but that's what that's Spanish for homie.
Yeah, or it's like 200 words like you got in school.
That thing that we did in school.
Yeah,
right. Gotcha.
And then there's grape, which
is it's not my preferred flavor. I'm more of a.
What's your favorite pre-workout?
Oh, it's gonna be a cherry.
Cherry
flavor.
Cherry.
Yeah.
I like blue raspberry. But my wife, hope she's listening to the podcast. If we haven't got my wife hooked on the podcast after 25 minutes, then there's something seriously wrong. She's probably already turned it off. I know she likes Caroline Winkler, name dropping. Maybe we could collab one day. But
that's a pre-workout flavor?
No, that's not a pre-workout flavor. That is a podcaster that she likes. And what I want to do is I want my wife to listen to me more than Caroline Winkler.
Right. And right now you haven't given her much of an excuse to listen to you.
Well, we're only talking about like politics. I know she loves politics. And the Bro Mansion. She's definitely a fan of that.
Well, yeah. So that's the next thing, right? If we're gonna get back on the Bro Mansion topic, is Michael then was the next person to get married, which nobody thought. I think my cousin is. I think he's very, very book smart, but a bit of a goofball. And that's kind of how
I don't even think I'm book smart anymore. Maybe back in the day when I read books.
Well, I mean, if you, what was the name of that segment that you guys had where it was, "Are you smarter than a fifth grader?"
Yeah.
But politically,
It's
or not politically,
trying to avoid copyright. We didn't call
avoid-
it that, but basically we asked first through fifth grade questions, and I did. I
like how you're trying to avoid copyright, but then you got your host saying things that if Spotify knew, they would kick it off.
It's hard to keep. That's what we were talking about. It's hard to keep up with TOS on these platforms, and I'm pretty sure there's definitely some words that my host would say that probably does break those terms of service.
Well, listen. So I have a business where I help other businesses with some vital technology solutions, right? And we have a lot of compliance things that we have to follow on a regular basis. Like there are very certain things that we can and cannot advertise ourselves as and say about like what services that we offer and help folks run things in a way that is that meets the terms and conditions of what they've agreed to. That being said, I'm very well up to date on those because it's my job, right? So if it's not, so I would think that if you guys are releasing things and that's your income driver, that you would keep up to date with compliance measures.
It's not really our income driver. Our income driver is sports, and like not talking about sports on a show. It's live broadcasts of the actual game going on. That's what the majority of our sponsors, our advertisers, that's what they get on board to be a part of that production. Everything else, there's some money to be made elsewhere, but I'd say that's 3/4 of our revenue. It comes from our live sports production.
Okay, and your sponsors and advertisers, they're more local.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, all right. So you're not trying to appeal to the nation as much as you are.
I mean, we love to get some major brands on board, but they have to jump through so many hoops to agree to being sponsors and signing contracts for that. You get a smaller business, it's like, well, you got one person that's got to agree to it. That's the boss. A lot easier access to them than the head of Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
A lot. Not saying that we've gone after Coca-Cola or anything. It's just, that was the first name that came to my head because I'm sitting right here in front of me with a Coca-Cola that I got from Burger King. This ad read brought to you by Coca-Cola and Burger King.
Nope. No, it's not. No, we have no affiliation with Coke nor Burger King. We can say that we are users of Burger King and Coca-Cola, but I think that I don't think that
is that
Burger
breaking
King,
terms of service to like.
I would imagine that it's at least a gray area.
That's just free pub though for them.
Yeah, but
they might not like the pub.
They might not like that we're talking about it because they might not like what we have to say in other topics and ask.
That's true.
Our
I understand.
So,
like for an analogy, like if you had a Islamic State that was doing a live a live video of something that was very inappropriate that you cannot, you can't show it on TV or anything. And then before that they had drapes dropping down saying like, this entertainment brought to you by these sponsors. Like, those sponsors probably wouldn't like that too much, would they?
No, they probably wouldn't. No, I can't imagine that some of their forms of entertainment.
I mean, you might find some.
Are brand safe, yeah. But
I was trying to be as PC as possible there too. There's so many words in my head to say now to explain that situation. Look, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Okay.
Okay.
So I feel like I could have painted a very detailed, visceral picture of that analogy, but instead, I kind of just drew some stick figures. All right.
So you're just leaving it up to the imagination of the listeners.
Yeah,
Sure.
Up for interpretation.
Yeah. So when I imagine a group of folks getting together and having some good cuisine, sitting around enjoying a big dish of hummus. And
Hummus
I
is
have
good.
sat around and I will tell you that some of the best cuisine I've ever had is from the Middle East. They do have um, a fantastic culture in cooking. I've had some really good shawarma. I have some of my clients that I work with are Middle Eastern cuisine, and they are their culture is so generous as well, because anytime I go out there to help them solve a technical issue, first thing that they do is they're going to be like, hey, do you want anything to eat when I'm walking out the door? Now I'm not getting that from a barbecue joint.
No.
It's a culture thing. They have a very like their culture is very generous. It has been a true pleasure and treat working with folks from that culture.
We were talking earlier about how political discourse is important in our country.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in other countries, they do a better job of suppressing political discourse, which causes those extremes to be more vibrant. So, like, the really good people from other countries are fantastic, wonderful people. But what gets presented in the media a lot to Americans is the opposite side of that.
Sure.
So I think that undertaking of making sure that those countries have better political discourse would cause those extremes to come closer together, and you'd find less of the really bad and more of the really good.
No, I don't disagree. And that's that's something I like about the podcast format is we're not reading off a script. We're just able to talk.
Yeah, I've had a script in front of me this whole time.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's right here.
It's right there. Okay, he's pointing to his head. Yeah, we can't do too many visual cues yet. Our ultimate goal would be to get a camera rig and probably a microphone that has both left and right audio.
That'd be nice. My ultimate goal is to have YouTube come and film me.
Oh yeah,
Office quote, sort of paraphrasing.
That butchered it a little bit. But
yeah.
What is it? How do I get
YouTube to come film this?
How do I get YouTube to come film this? Yeah.
Office is gold. Like I don't know what your favorite TV show is, but I think Office is at the very top for me in terms of comedy. Grew up on it, have watched it over and over and over and over. There will probably be some Office quotes in here, but I'm not too much of a quoter. I kind of just let the shows speak for itself.
And when you do quote things, you
butcher it.
Yeah, you butcher it. Yeah, but we know the reference that you.
Except for one, I got one on. I've perfected it. Crap, I forgot it.
Hold on, was that a bit or
it started as a bit and then I actually did forget it.
Nice,
because I was actually going to say the quote and that was going to be the bit.
Got it. So, didn't you? Well, yeah, let's go into this because you've had something interesting that you've always done.
You can't eat cats. You can't eat cats, Kevin. There it is.
Okay. So another Office quote?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can quote The Office.
Barely.
So
I've had multiple undocumented concussions.
So Michael has always done this thing when he wants to get a new phone. He's always wanted a phone that nobody else has.
Not always, but the majority of the time,
the
yeah.
majority.
Because I was really happy to get the Galaxy S20, and that was a pretty popular phone when it came out.
Yeah, and you had that one for how long?
5 years.
And then what was it before that?
Ooh.
You had an Amazon phone.
No, I think, I had an Amazon phone, not for long. That phone was not good.
Which I would have thought at the time. I mean, Amazon phones were not very popular. Amazon was dipping their toes in the water on coming out with their own version of phones. I don't know if Amazon even does phones anymore.
They may not. They didn't have their floaties on, and they sunk real quick in the phone.
But Michael always wanted to get something that's kind of unique. That's something you'll learn about Michael in general is he likes to be a little bit quirky. I made note of that in my my best man speech.
Yes, it's
when
true.
when Michael somehow tricked someone into marrying him.
It wasn't a trick. It was, I openly proposed, and she said yes.
Right.
That's how that
and
works,
you did
right?
a great job. And this is where that that lifelong you've been a stage actor. That's where your lifelong stage acting really just worked out for you.
Well, she's also into theater.
She is also into theater, but you were able to put on such a great performance, and that's also why they got engaged so early. Because I believe Michael proposed after 8 months. He was like, I can't do this. This act is hard, and he's like, I gotta go ahead and lock this in.
Actually, I was planning on waiting longer, but truth be told, Mom kind of pressured me into moving things forward a little bit more.
Your mom did it? You don't say.
Yeah, just a little bit. She said, "What are you waiting on? You should have proposed within the first week."
Well, what I've been trying to get to, because we're going down a different topic, probably for another episode. But I want to talk about, because it's fresh on our mind, your new phone that you ordered from China.
I had a little bit of issues.
So tell us,
making it work.
You did have a few issues, but I want you to tell us about your reasoning behind that, and let the listeners know why you decided on this phone over, say, just going and grabbing an iPhone or a Samsung device.
All right, so I think I had good sound logic in my purchase. As a consumer going into this, I knew the thing that I wanted to find was a phone that obviously works in the United States, that also was durable. I have a problem with dropping my phone, being a little careless with it in the gym. Just in general, in the past, even having phone cases didn't necessarily protect a phone. So I wanted something that was built to last, not something that I could just slap a case on and hope the case held up. So I looked around, and the thing that seemed to be working for me, I liked the specs for the phone, and I checked to make sure it was compliant with the three rules of phones in the U.S., which is making sure it's GSM or CDMA based on your carrier.
Let's pause there for a second.
Okay.
I don't want to get too far away from this, because you said you liked the specs of the phone. So, Michael, what were you looking at in spec? Because, Michael, I tend to be more of the tech guy that appreciates specs, and I'm just curious what Michael was looking for in specs. Michael, what does
I wanted
specs
a longer battery life.
What does specs stand for?
Specifications.
Okay, all right. I'm just making sure we're on the same page there. So you were looking for.
I wanted a long battery life, because I felt like the Galaxy S20 had a pretty short battery life. Let's see.
And what's a proper milliamp that we're looking for when we're looking at battery life?
I didn't look at that. I looked at what it said you would typically, if you were spending time on your phone, this is how much time you should have for battery life, which it said, I believe if I remember correctly, it said 16 hours of straight usage, which I'm not a habitual phone user. I use my phone. I don't even text back properly. Everybody can attest to that. That's got my phone number and text me. It
is a nightmare to try to get in touch with.
It's sometimes don't answer my phone.
That's the biggest use for him having.
Forget where my phone even is. Like, I'll leave it random places and not even remember where I've left it. So, in terms of battery life, I haven't charged this thing in like 2 days, and it's still sitting at over 50%.
Okay.
So that was something I liked, but let's see what else.
What are you looking for in RAM and what kind of processor were you looking for?
Have no clue on processor.
So you liked the specs, and basically you meant you don't have, so you could get to be a little bit more lazy and not charge it as often. Is that what I'm understanding?
So another thing, technically for specs, you're looking at not just what works like inside the phone, but like the SIM card, right? So that's important for specs.
Yeah, it does need to be GSM compatible for your, at the time.
Still GSM. Still GSM.
Yeah, but at the time you were with AT&T.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which we can get on AT&T, and in the last couple of years they've changed things that make it a lot tougher for users to bring their own device.
Okay.
I've been with AT&T through a family plan for 17 years, give or take, and I have brought in multiple phones that were not bought from a retail store from AT&T and been perfectly fine. This is the first time I've run into an issue like this. But it was GSM phone. It was a dual nano, which is what I needed because that's what I have with the Galaxy S20. Because I was trying to take my old SIM card and just put it in the new phone. And then the most important thing that can really trip you up is making sure that you're on the right frequency bands for the United States.
It is very important, and I'm proud of you for actually doing your research on that one, because that is.
I mean, I bought multiple phones that I had to make sure were frequency band compatible in the past, and everything had been fine. I've had a like you said, an Amazon phone that was not sold at the AT&T store. I had an Asus phone not sold at the AT&T store. I've had a BlackBerry phone not sold at the AT&T store before. 2 BlackBerry phones actually, both not sold at the AT&T store, and was fine on all those. But this time around, I got a Blackview, which not the manufacturer. The manufacturer is Doki out of China.
Okay.
And when I tried to use my SIM card on it, I actually made some calls. You were with me one time, sent some texts, browsed the internet, and then all of a sudden I got a text from AT&T saying this device is not compatible on our network.
Which doesn't make a lot of sense, especially if you were able to make phone calls and send out text messages and use some of the data. So what did you ultimately find out about the Blackview phone that you went with?
Well, it was AT&T as of early 2023, I think, maybe late 2022, had a updated whitelist that has all their approved devices, and it was pretty short. It's a pretty short list. It's a lot of what is on the list is sold by AT&T in their retail store from past generations up to the current, and they don't really allow for a lot of other devices to be on their networks apparently these days. So I researched T-Mobile, and T-Mobile's list was so long in the devices, it was stuff I'd never even heard of, stuff that I couldn't even find on GSM Arena, which has always been my tool for looking at new phones. I like GSM Arena, and I decided, why not just hop over to T-Mobile. Of course, I didn't go straight to T-Mobile. I went with Mint Mobile. So it's a lot more affordable.
Which runs on the T-Mobile spectrum. Got it. Okay.
Shout out Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Is that a product placement?
I wouldn't just shout out random folks.
Shout out
products.
Deadpool?
Nope, don't have that licensing. Certainly.
Okay.
Certainly don't. I mean, we can talk about if we give a positive opinion on it. I think we can.
I'm very positive so far.
Negative opinions. We got to figure out like fair use and critique stuff. We got to do some research.
Can't endorse AT&T right now because, I just don't understand how a phone that can work on your network made calls and then I get a text saying it doesn't work. It's strange to me. I was still going to be a monthly customer with them.
Yeah,
had no problems.
You wanted to continue paying the money.
Yeah.
And we're not able to do that.
Yeah, because my hand was forced to switch providers.
And this isn't, and just so the listeners are clear, this is not a Huawei phone, right? Which Huawei had their big issues with where you can't get Huawei products in America anymore. This was Michael bought this from a reputable dealer over in China. It got shipped over here, and this was a phone that is perfectly. It's not against the restrictions on bringing those electronics over to the States. So,
and I've had no issues since switching to T-Mobile. It's been
working fine,
working perfectly fine, working great.
Did you check with the folks at Mint Mobile
beforehand to make sure it was compatible?
Yeah.
They actually have a compatibility checker on their site, which AT&T does not have. AT&T just has a PDF file, a legitimate PDF file, not what we talked about earlier. That you just look at, and you have to scroll through it to get to your brand and model and stuff like that. And all Mint Mobile has is, you type in the search bar your IMEI number, and it tells you whether your phone's going to work or not.
Nice.
It's very, very nice.
Okay. So, end of the day, you had to leave AT&T, despite the fact that you wanted to stay with them and swap over to another one just based off of your phone.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Now, I didn't get into the fact that it came down to this phone and another phone. And the other phone, do you want to know the reason why I considered it?
This is first I'm hearing about it.
Not realistic at all compared to the reasons that I got the Blackview. The Blackview made sense. It was a rugged smartphone meant for durability because I don't like to be nice and kind to my phone typically. I've had a lot of cracks on a lot of different phones.
Okay.
My BlackBerry had a button pop out of it back in the day because it was one of the the pads where you could have the keyboard.
Sure.
pad.
Yeah, it had the keyboard.
It had the keyboard and the touchscreen.
Okay.
And one of the keyboard buttons popped out because of dropping it too much. I mean, it's just, not kind to it. But the other phone that I considered was a Doogie phone, and the reason that I considered it was it has a 125 decibel loudspeaker built in.
Are you telling me that you were considering getting a phone so that, because Michael does that thing that nobody likes when you're at the gym, and he doesn't like wearing headphones, so he just plays his music.
It's not okay. I have gone through periods where that's been the case, but I have had headphones for 2 years now, and I use them every single time in the gym.
So what's your reasoning for wanting what'd you say, 125 decibels?
I wanted to use it for work because I was going to take it instead of our speakers to remotes and just blare music out of my phone.
What's the use case?
Huh?
What's the use case?
The use case?
Yeah, what are you're wanting to take it to work for what?
When we do remotes, which is where we're live on site doing a radio show or just playing music for a client or something, we have to go and set up all this equipment, set up speakers.
You're not routing that through your sound something? You're not routing the music audio?
We're playing the music through the phone into the speakers, typically. But I could just play it through the phone and not set up the speakers.
Okay. Yeah, 125 decibels is quite loud.
Yeah, it'd be better than the speakers.
I'll want to go back and then do you.
I can't imagine a phone putting that out. I mean, that's incredible.
This was Doogie?
Yeah, Doogee, I think is the brand. And that phone had just come out last month, and I was like, man, this is crazy. I'd have to have a 125 decibel loudspeaker phone. Like the speaker was massive on the back too. It like stuck out.
Okay, yeah, and that's one of those things. It's like, oh, I've got something that nobody else has.
That's 100%. I mean, you're very correct on the fact that because it came down to those two, that would have been not because of it being. It probably would have not been durable. I mean, can you imagine dropping it on the speaker? It would have damaged the speaker immediately, probably.
And you guys should have seen what Michael's phone looked like before he got the new one. He has had
it was a seizure inducer.
A green bar that flashes about 50 times a second. That has just been there.
I've bothered him. I've operated with that for a year and a half. But the problem that made me have to get a new phone was the touchscreen literally stopped working on 3/4 of the screen. The very top of it would recognize input.
You couldn't touch the bottom?
No, it didn't do anything.
Okay. Well, I think we have somehow already gotten through 50 minutes.
We still got stuff to talk about too, don't we?
I mean, we can talk a little bit about our planned release schedule. So, our initial goal is to get about 10 episodes recorded, start playing around with some audio editing software, figure out what we're going to utilize and what we're going to use for stuff. We would definitely like to get a couple more microphones, ideally by episode 2 or 3.
Yeah, we might have some technical hitches throughout episodes before we get, Hollywood standard like we plan on being.
We still got to find our vibe, right? Like, and then eventually, I do think we need to come up with a segment where we just debate, because I think that's where we shine is when we start going back and forth.
Yeah, but the topics we debate on typically aren't the topics that I don't know, not serious debates like what's the best dessert.
Yeah. And we can go on. We can make a whole podcast out of that.
And I just want to put this out there before Madison brings it up when I'm not ready for it. But yes, when I played Xbox back in the day, I was a competitive Halo player, and I did buy my 50
It's just right out the gate.
Look,
episode 0.
I had terrible internet issues, and I had grinded in that game. I mean, I don't think you understand. No social life whatsoever when I was
All
a middle
right.
schooler. I would come home and I would play Halo until it was time to go to bed. And
You've got your reasons, and I'll give you your reasons. But
I wanted that 50 so bad.
That's an opening. I tell you what, we can open with that on episode 1.
We can talk about
We can talk about that. I thought you were going to bring up a completely different topic. And
I don't even
that
know.
that one's one we're gonna want some visuals on. So when so we can see Michael's face on that one. That'll be a very, very fun topic of conversation. And
is it going to be fun? I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
To the listeners, I will promise you now that as soon as this recording turns off, I'm not even going to tell them what we're talking about until we bring it up. So stay tuned and definitely subscribe. Our release schedule.
I think I might know what it is actually.
Okay, well, I think our release schedule is we're gonna try to get one episode out every week. Like I said, I think we're going to prepare 10 episodes before we start actually releasing. Today is July 5th of 2025, so it'll be a couple of months before this actually gets to anybody's ears. But this is gonna be a fun thing. Michael and I don't get to hang out as much as we used to. We used to live together. Before
you were going to talk
before we got
about
married.
what was going to be taking up more of my time.
What'll be taking up more of your time?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
We were going to talk about there's something coming that's going to...
That's true. That is true. Michael
take up more of my time.
Michael is expecting.
Yeah.
They are having probably by the time this even releases,
possibly
there will be a little Michael running around. They don't know if it's a boy or a girl. They've opted to not
going the old-fashioned route.
So it's going to be that'll be really fun getting to hear Michael's experience as a new father. I think that's definitely something worth documenting because I don't know if you had to take a written test, I don't know if Michael would have even been studied up enough yet for all this. So I look forward to that.
Most people are, I'm not going to say there's not people that do their due diligence and are very, very prepared to have a kid, but most people are not. It's kids raising kids out there for the most part. What? It is.
So, stay tuned for more. We are wanting to make a regular thing out of this. I think it's fun for us to hang out, and if you wanna come along on the ride while we get together once a week and talk about life, and we're happy to have you.
I mean, sometimes we're going to talk about I guess things that are timed. I mean, there's some subjects that can't be avoided. We'll have to talk about them, but we're trying to keep it as evergreen as possible so you can listen to this episode 3, 4, 5 years down the road and you're not like, what are they talking about? I wasn't paying attention during that time, but
we might talk about hot trends and stuff when we get to a more scheduled release thing. So long term, we want to record and release on the same week, but I do think it's good for us to kind of catch our footing and get a like I said, 10 episodes out before we release, and then put that on a regular release schedule. But yeah, if when this one comes out, we're planning on releasing it on multiple platforms. If you have comments or topics that you'd like us to address, and happy to, we're definitely going to end up reading through all those.
Just let us know that you're listening. That's what we want to know, that you're engaged with us and you're interested in what we talk about. And obviously, we'd love suggestions. We can always change it up.
But don't want to drag this out too much more. Thank you for joining us. This is episode 0. So if you're coming back and listening on episode 100 or 200, and you're coming all the way back here, I'm sorry. It's probably not up to our current quality, but but this is gotta have our first baby steps.
Yeah, I mean, or it'll get worse.
No, that's not the plan. All right, thanks guys.